Boxing fans around the world are in for a historic showdown as Terence Crawford prepares to take on Canelo Alvarez in a fight that could redefine the pound-for-pound rankings. The stakes couldn't be higher. Crawford, already considered one of the most technically gifted fighters of his generation, is making a daring leap up 2 weight classes to challenge the Mexican superstar in a division he's never fought in before. With legendary commentator Tim Bradley claiming that a victory here would make Crawford the undisputed best fighter on planet Earth, the pressure is immense. But is this an impossible mission? Many critics believe the size and power disadvantage will be too much for Crawford to handle, while others argue that his superior skill and ring IQ could expose a slowing Canelo. The clash of styles, legacies, and expectations makes this fight one of the most highly anticipated events in recent boxing history, with fans eagerly debating whether Crawford can achieve what so many believe to be an insurmountable task. On the other hand, Canelo Alvarez has everything to lose in this fight. A defeat at the hands of a much smaller opponent would be a devastating blow to his legacy, raising questions about whether he is still the same dominant force he once was. While he remains the king of the super middleweight division, recent performances have left some fans questioning whether his prime years are behind him. Is this the moment when boxing's biggest superstar finally gets dethroned? Or will Canelo prove, once again, that size and power trump pure skill when the weight difference is too great? The fight also carries echoes of Mayweather vs. Canelo in 2013, where a young Canelo was outclassed by the defensive mastery of Floyd Mayweather Jr. Could Crawford execute a similar strategy and pull off an all-time great upset? Or will Canelo impose his strength, break down Crawford, and remind the world why he's still the face of boxing? One thing is certain: this fight is more than just a battle for titles. It's a clash for legacy, pride, and the right to be called the best in the world. Boxing analyst Tim Bradley believes that if Terence Crawford manages to defeat Canelo Alvarez on September 13th, he will earn the prestigious title of the best fighter on the planet. This fight is a major challenge for Crawford, as he will be moving up 2 whole weight classes to face Canelo in a division he has never competed in before. Such a jump in weight is rare and highly risky, especially against an opponent as experienced and powerful as Canelo. While a victory would be a remarkable achievement, some experts argue that it wouldn't necessarily make Crawford the best boxer in the world. They point out that younger, stronger fighters like David Benavidez, David Morrell, and Diego Pacheco could still pose a bigger threat than Canelo. Crawford's smaller size and relatively lower power could be major disadvantages, making it difficult for him to withstand the physicality of a naturally bigger opponent. Many boxing fans and analysts doubt Crawford's chances of winning, especially considering that he is moving into unfamiliar territory against one of the most dominant champions of this era. Critics also highlight Jermall Charlo's 2023 fight against Canelo as a cautionary tale for Crawford. When Charlo moved up to the 168-pound division to take on Canelo, many believed that his skill and speed would allow him to outbox the Mexican star. However, once he felt the sheer power of Canelo's punches, his entire approach changed. Instead of engaging in a competitive fight, Charlo spent most of the match on the defensive, moving around the ring to avoid Canelo's heavy shots. His reluctance to engage turned the fight into a one-sided affair, with Canelo dominating from start to finish. Many fear that Crawford could face the same fate, struggling against Canelo's strength and finding himself unable to execute his usual game plan. Some critics even suggest that this fight is less about proving Crawford's skill and more about securing a massive payday before retirement. Since Crawford is already considered one of the greatest fighters of his generation, a fight against Canelo, even in defeat, would still solidify his legacy and earn him a significant financial reward. Despite these concerns, Bradley strongly believes that Crawford is taking this fight to prove once and for all that he is the best fighter in the world. According to Bradley, Crawford has no doubts about his ability to win and is fully committed to taking the necessary risks to cement his legacy. He sees this as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to silence any remaining doubters and make a definitive statement about his greatness. Bradley emphasizes that Crawford's determination and self-belief are what set him apart from other fighters. Unlike Charlo, who may have underestimated Canelo's power, Crawford is entering this fight fully aware of the challenge ahead and is preparing accordingly. He understands that this will be one of the toughest battles of his career, but he is willing to face it head-on to achieve what many consider impossible. Bradley insists that if Crawford pulls off the upset, it will be a defining moment in boxing history and will solidify his place among the sport's all-time greats. If Crawford does manage to win, analysts predict that he will have to adopt a highly strategic and cautious approach, similar to how Floyd Mayweather defeated Canelo in 2013. Mayweather dominated that fight by using his superior footwork, speed, and defensive skills to avoid Canelo's power shots while landing precise counterpunches. It was a masterclass in boxing strategy, but it also frustrated fans who were expecting a more explosive fight. Similarly, if Crawford wants to beat Canelo, he will need to move constantly, use his jab effectively, and avoid risky exchanges. This means that the fight could turn into a more tactical and calculated contest rather than an all-out war. While this approach would give Crawford the best chance of winning, it might not be entertaining for fans who crave high-action fights with big knockouts. Some boxing enthusiasts might feel disappointed if the fight turns out to be more defensive, especially given the hype surrounding it. However, for Crawford, securing a victory no matter how it happens would be the ultimate goal, proving that he belongs at the top of the sport. The big question remains, can Crawford execute the perfect game plan to overcome Canelo, or will the size, power, and experience of the Mexican champion prove to be too much? One of the biggest challenges Crawford faces in this fight is overcoming the sheer physicality of Canelo Alvarez. Moving up 2 weight classes is no small feat, and it means Crawford will be facing a stronger, heavier opponent who is used to fighting and absorbing punches at this level. Canelo has spent years dominating in the super middleweight division, proving his power by knocking out top-tier opponents. While Crawford is known for his technical skill and adaptability, he has never faced an opponent as physically imposing as Canelo. The difference in weight and strength could become a major factor, as Canelo will likely use his size advantage to press forward, cut off the ring, and force Crawford into uncomfortable exchanges. If Crawford cannot handle Canelo's power, he may find himself in a survival mode similar to what happened with Jermall Charlo. This raises the question, will Crawford's speed and boxing IQ be enough to neutralize Canelo's power, or will the weight difference prove too much to overcome?